Hello students and welcome back. So JEE Mains is going on right now. Today is the last day. So we already had exams on 2nd, 4th, 5th and 6th. The 7th was for the paper 2. Today is 8th. So we have got, the exam have got just over. So we have only got few inputs. We couldn't get a lot of input from our students. So in today's video, we are only going to cover the shift on the 2nd, 4th, 5th and 6th. So now, if we talk about like overall, so we have seen that the April 6th shift one, that was the toughest which ever happened, except I'm not sure about the 8th which happened today. So till now it was the most difficult one. Then the second shift 2 also was quite difficult. It have time consuming sections. If we talk about 4th April shift 1, that is also kind of the difficult one. Whereas April 5th first session, it was very easy. It was one of the easiest one. Which came this time. So what happened is, this time in the January, the pattern was a little different than what it generally happens. So in January, we have also seen that chemistry and physics also coming lengthy, difficult in few of the papers. But this time it is similar to what happened last year and even last year. That is, we have seen the maths coming very lengthy, time consuming, just like usual. Physics was moderate. There were one or two here and there calculative question, but rest was direct formula based, and chemistry came easy directly from NCERT, as we have seen over the last 2-3 years. So we can clearly see that they are following the similar pattern that it used to happen, not like January session. So now if we talk about difficulty wise, so as we have talked about, April 6th shift 1, that is the most difficult one. Even April 2 shift 2 was also kind of difficult. But April 5th shift 1, that was the easiest. That was the easiest this time. And we feel that the cutoffs will go really high in that one. Now coming to the exact cutoff and what can you expect in terms of marks versus percentile. So over here on the screen, you will see the numbers are basically what we are expecting for 99 percentile marks. Now all this is based on the input that we have got from our students. Because we have students who have attended January session, this session and over the past year. So based on that idea, we expect that the 99 percentile in the first session, that is April to shift 1, will be somewhere above 175 to 180 marks. The April to shift 2, the 99 percentile might come from 170 to 173 marks. The 4th April shift 1, it might come around 170 marks, that is 99 percentile. The April 4th shift 2, it might be around 180 to 182 marks. Now, April 5 shift 1 was the easiest. So, we are expecting that 99 percentile for April 5 shift 1 might be around 192 marks. Now, April 5 shift 2, the 99 percentile might be around 182 marks. April 6 shift 1, which is the most difficult one this time. So, we are expecting that 99 percentile in that might go around somewhere around 162 marks. And finally, the April 6th shift 2, it might go around 185 marks. So these are the expected numbers for 99 percentile. Now, I will talk about two more things, that is about 96 percentile and the cutoff. So cutoff we are expecting will be somewhere around 93.5 percentile, because the number of applicants increases every year, but the number of students who can write JEE Advanced never changes, that is always fixed. So 96 percentile, why we want to talk about 96 percentile? Because 96 percentile is the only percentile in which you can expect getting a NIT. In fact, depending on your state quota, depending on your category quota, it might be possible if you belong to open category that you might not even get NIT for 96.5 percentile, but sometime on an average you can get to 96 percentile. So if I talk about 96 percentile marks, for which you can get some good college through JOSA, that will be, you can subtract almost around 30 marks from all of them. So what do I mean by subtracting 30 marks? So we are expecting that if I talk about that is April 4 shift 1, so we are expecting 170 marks for 99 percentile. That means 96 percentile should come somewhere around 140 marks. Similarly, if you talk about the April shift 2 or 2nd April shift 2, that is 172 marks for 99 percentile. So if you reduce 30, so around 142 marks, we can expect 96 percentile. It's slightly more than 96. In fact, to be precise, it might be somewhere around 96.45 percentile, around that much. Similarly, if I talk about the April 6 shift 1, which is the most difficult one, in which 99 percentile might come for 160 marks, in that we can expect that around 130 marks will get around 96.3, which will be generally the cutoff for the NITs. Now coming to the cutoff for JEE Advanced, that is for what marks you can get 93.5 percentile. So for that, an estimate will be you can reduce 60 marks from them. So for example, if we talk about the April 4 shift 1, that is if you are expecting 170 marks, 99 percentile, so if you subtract 60 marks, around 110 marks we can expect the cutoff, that is 93.5 percentile, because that might be approximately the cutoff. Similarly, the most difficult one, that is April 6 shift 1. So if 160 marks is for 99 percentile, we can expect for 100 marks the cutoff will be. And if I talk about the easiest one, that is April 5 shift 1. So if you are from April 5 shift 1, around 192 marks will get 99 percentile. So 96.3 percentile you might get for somewhere around 162 marks, and for around 130 marks might be the cutoff for the April 5 shift 1, which is the most easiest one this time. Now, if we compare this year with the last year, so we have seen an increase in the number of applicants. So in fact, last year in the April session in 2025, we saw that around 10.61 lakh students registered for the exam, although those who attempted were only 9.92 lakhs. And if you talk about total number of unique students, like including shift 1 and shift 2, that was around 14.75 lakhs. So that means last year 14.75 lakh students wrote the JEE exam. So for example, if you get 90 percentile, so if 14.75 lakhs are student writing, that means your rank will come over somewhere around 1,47,500. So it will be around that much. Similarly, if I talk about 99 percentile, so if 99 percentile will be somewhere around 14,750 rank, depending on the number of students participating. But this year if I talk about 2026, so we have seen a higher participation in the January session. April session data NTA will release maybe in another week or 10 days time. So now if we talk about the April versus January thing, so last year we have seen that the cutoffs went higher in April last year as well. In January, it was on an average 99 percentile came across all the shifts for around 170 marks, whereas in the April, it came for around 183 marks. But this is not a very appropriate data to compare, because 99 percentile for different shift varies a lot depending on whether you got an easy shift or a difficult shift. So maybe average might not be a very good indicator in this case. But if I talk about last year, in April 2025, we have seen the highest cutoff, that means highest for 99 percentile was 202 marks. So for 202 marks, 99 percentile came in one of the session, which was the most easiest one. So although we can see that there are some patterns, like we can see that generally evening sessions were more difficult last year, but then again JEE mains can have a lot of variation across the sessions, so we cannot comment anything accurately over here. Now comparing to 2024, so in 2024 there was a lot of discrepancy again, but number of candidates were less. So in 2024 there were total of 12,57,000 students. So if you are getting 99 percentile in 2024, that means you will get a rank of 12,000. So as the number of participants or number of applicants increase in JEE, for the same percentile your rank will be on a lesser side. Lesser side means probability of getting that college, that thing will be a little bit lower due to increasing competition. So what it is for as you as a student, now what you should plan, what you should do. So first of all, do not panic if your raw marks are low, because even what we present over here is a expected numbers which we have got by talking to our students who have written this exam. They are not like a very hard and fast rule, so it might vary. So especially if you have written a difficult shift like April 6 shift 1, so even if you are getting a little bit less marks, nothing to worry about it. Now if you have written something like the 5th April morning session, so obviously you need to have a higher marks to get similar percentile. So do not go with the blind comparison. Now most important thing is what should be your plan for future now. So if in case you are getting above 130 marks, so sure you can start preparing for JEE Advanced. So if you're getting more than 130 marks, no matter which shift you have written, prepare for JEE Advanced. If you are getting in even in a difficult shift, it's even better. So prepare for JEE Advanced wholeheartedly. But if in case you are someone who is not getting 130 marks, you're getting less than 130 marks, that means the probability of getting a good college through JOSA like NITs might be also difficult. So in that case, we'll also suggest you that you might have registered for exams like BITSAT. So kindly focus on it, because BITSAT will be in another, I think, 10 days time. So BITS is also a very good college. So you also ensure that you parallelly attempt all those exams as well and focus on that also, if in case you are getting little bit less marks. But if in case you are getting anything more than 130, then you should only focus in JEE Advanced with a single focus, no other distraction, because then your chance of getting IIT can be significantly higher. So now the final verdict is that we can clearly see there's a lot of variation. January was much more difficult compared to this time, and the variation is also across a lot of shifts. So for example, the 5th April paper came very easy, but 6th April was quite difficult. So a lot of variation we can see, but one thing common we have seen this time is that it follows the same pattern as earlier. That means we can see maths is again coming lengthy, and the physics were more formula based, chemistry was totally based on NCERT. But JEE Advanced will not be like that. So if you are someone who's getting more than 130 marks, focus on doing difficult questions, focus on doing previous year question for JEE Advanced, because those will play a very crucial role when you write the paper. So the results will be out soon, so we'll get an idea maybe in another 2 weeks time what exactly the cutoff and everything. So stay tuned for more information. We'll soon also come up with a video how you can make the best utilization of the 1 month next for the JEE Advanced. So all the best to all of you. See you in the next video.